Is it November yet? Hello, word nerds! It is the end of October, which means that it is also almost time for NaNoWriMo in case you haven't been following our channel at all. I'm here today to give you a few last minute tips on doing NaNoWriMo. I always have loved NaNoWriMo. This is going to be, I think, my 8th year doing it. So I've been around the block a few times and excited to share some of the things that I found have worked with me that hopefully will be helpful to you. So first things first, my number one rule when it comes to Nano is to take some of the pressure off. I know there's a lot of kind of pressure to get that 50,000 word mark. Everyone wants to win Nano. Of course we want to win Nano and I want for you to win Nano. But if you don't, there's still a lot of really good benefits from participating in Nano, whether you win or not. So I think a good first step is to say, yeah, you're going to reach for that 50K goal, but if you don't get it, that's fine too. And you can just be happy with whatever you do get done in November. Another good tip is to make sure that you're turning off your inner editor as much as possible. This is really hard for a lot of people. I think it's harder for some people than others. One thing that I found that works really well for me is using some sort of software that kind of forces me to keep writing. So I've talked a lot about the write or die software, where basically if you stop writing for an extended period of time, scary pictures will pop up. There will be icky, scary noises that happen on your computer and your screen will turn red. So it's a really good motivation to keep writing. For the Words also has some really great endurance critters that you can fight that reward you for getting words down on the paper and for not stopping writing. And having that incentive to just keep writing regardless is a really good way to turn off your inner editor. One other thing that I found sometimes works pretty well for me is to just turn up the font on my screen to white if you're using a white background, or black if you're using a black background. But make the font the same color as the background of your screen so that you can't actually see the words you've typed. And then, of course, once you're done writing them and done with Nano, you can go back and change it so that you can actually see what you've written. But not being able to see while you write can be a good way to turn off that inner editor. Another tip I have, if you get stuck, which I think is something that happens to all of us, because no matter how well you plan for Nano, things just kind of get weird in the middle of it. If you're like me, you don't plan at all, and then you really end up in weird spaces. That said, if you get stuck in the middle of Nano and you just feel like you've hit a dead end and don't know where to go next, there are a couple things that I suggest. So plot-wise, one thing that you can do that works really well for me and I think is a great pantsing move that you can try during NaNoWriMo is to just throw something hard at your characters. I call this the set it on fire technique. For me, a lot of times I literally set something on fire in my book. And that gives your character something that they have to work through. And it keeps things moving. A lot of times this happens kind of in the middle where you know what the beginning is and you know what the end is, but you don't know how to get them to point A and B and maintain the kind of like conflict and tension that you want in a book. A really good way to just keep things moving is to throw something out of control at your characters, whether that's a fire or an unexpected secret coming to light, a fight between two characters, lots of different things that can happen. So maybe ask yourself, like, what is the worst thing that can happen to my character right now? And then do that to them because you're a jerk as an author. Another thing that you can do when you kind of hit that midpoint slump is to just remind yourself whatever it was that you were excited about with the book in the first place. I think a really good habit for Nano is to always write down right at the beginning, like a list of things you're excited about with your book, whether that's the characters that you love or the theme that you're really excited about, or like a really cool plot twist that you're writing towards. And then you can revive that list once you get to that point where you're a little less excited about it in the middle of Nano. You can also do things like revisit your aesthetics if you are into making book aesthetics, or if you like have a playlist that you really like. Going back to those things that originally inspired you with the idea is really great when you hit those midpoint blues. Finally, of course, the last rule I think is just to have fun with it. One of the best things you can do during NaNoWriMo is to take advantage of the communities. There's really great community surrounding NaNoWriMo. I've made great friends through participation. The hashtags are really active. There are a lot of just different ways to get involved virtually and to meet new people and to have a lot of fun with it. And this kind of goes back to my original rule of like, take some of the pressure off. Like I said, this is probably my 8th year doing NaNoWriMo. I have won I think 5 of those years, but that means it took me 3 years to kind of figure out what I was doing. The first 3 years were the ones that I didn't win. And so I think NaNoWriMo in a lot of ways is something you just learn to do and you get better at. You kind of find a process that works for you. And so if this is maybe your first or even your fifth time doing it and you haven't won yet, don't give up. There's still a lot that you can learn, and there's a lot that you can gather from NaNoWriMo without ever actually winning. If you have one really good writing day and then you quit and don't write anything else the rest of the month, there's one really good writing day that you might not have had if you hadn't tried it. So I hope you're excited for NaNoWriMo. I know I am. Like I said, I've been doing it for a number of years and really excited to do it again this year. The WordNerds have a number of great write-ins that we've got planned. We love NaNoWriMo just all around on the WordNerds channel, so stick around and watch us. Join us for some write-ins. We'd love to do that with you, and we hope that you have a great November coming up.